Hey everyone, hope you are enjoying these revision videos in which we are revising the topics of class 11. But not only that, we are solving the questions based on it from the previous year question papers. In the previous video, we solved some questions based on list, but now it's time to solve some output based questions. Then without further delay, let's get started. By proceeding through the sample paper, I got one question. Alright, here we are. If you can solve it yourself, pause the video. Hope you got the correct output. Now let's solve it together. We know to predict the output, always we need dry run table. It will look like this. Alright, first of all, let's try to understand the code in short. Here is one list with 4 elements. There is one more empty list. Using for loop, we are iterating over the list and I will take the individual element of the list. With the help of conditional statement, we are checking two conditions. What's the first condition? With the index method, we will get the index of the element, and by taking modulus with 2, we are checking whether it is equals to 0 or not. We know that generally we use this condition to check whether the number is even or not. Here we will check for index. If this condition satisfies, based on this calculation, we will append the element to the empty list. What's the second condition? Here also we are taking the index of I. And taking floor division with 2, we are checking the quotient is 0 or not. It means what? In the first condition, we are checking remainder is 0 or not, and in the second condition, we are checking quotient is 0 or not. After this, we will get one new list. Using join method, we are joining hash. There is a end parameter of the print statement. With the help of that, we are adding dollar symbol at the end. Alright, then let's check out the value in the individual pass. This is pass 1. The first element of the list is CS. The variable I will hold the individual element. That's why the value of I is nothing but CS in the first pass. Look at this expression. We are applying the index method on the list S. Then tell me what is the index of the first element. It is nothing but 0. If we calculate 0 modulus 2, we will get 0. It means the first condition evaluates to true. So we will come to the true part. Look at this expression. First, let's try to evaluate the expression. Length of S is nothing but 2. There are total 2 characters. 2 minus 1 will be 1. I of 1. Now tell me, I of 1 means what? I is nothing but CS. It's a string. We can access the individual element of the string using index. So if I write I of 0, it is nothing but C. If we write I of 1, it is S. According to our expression, we need I of S. That's why it will be S. With the help of append method, we will be appending this string to the new list. So what this new list will contain? It will contain the first element as S. Hope this is clear to you. Now let's move ahead to the second pass. The value of I will update to the second element of the list. It is nothing but IP. Look at the index of this element IP. It is 1. If we do modulus 2, it is not equals to 0. So this condition will evaluate to false. That's why we will come to the elif part. In the elif part, we need to take floor division with the 2. Floor division gives the quotient. So if we divide 1 with 2, we will get answer as 0. So this is equals to 0. It means second condition evaluates to true. Let's check out what we are doing in the elif part. Here we are taking I of 0. In the second pass, I is nothing but IP. Then with I of 0, what we will get? Character which is at the index 0. It is nothing but I. It means I will get appended to the list. So after S, I will get added to the list. Now let's move ahead to the next pass. In the third pass, the value of I is IT. The index is nothing but 2. 2 modulus 2 equals to 0. It means we are following the process of pass 1. Length of IT is 2. 2 minus 1 will be 1. I of 1 means we are taking this alphabet T, which will get appended to the new list. So third element of the list will be T. There is one more element, so that will be the value of I in the fourth pass. The index of the last element is 3. 3 doesn't satisfy this condition, even it doesn't satisfy the second condition. There is no expression, that's why the list will remain same. Alright, now the print statement will get executed. Using join function, we are joining hash symbol to the elements of the list. It means what? After S we will get hash, after I we will get hash, and after T also we will get hash. And at the end we need to append this dollar symbol. Ultimately, here is the output. Let me show the final string. In this way, we solved this question and got the output. Hope you understood this concept. Here is the first list named fruit1. Using assignment operator, we are creating the copy of it. When we create a new list using assignment operator, they refer to same memory location. Look at the third statement. Using slicing, we are trying to copy the elements of the fruit2 to fruit3. But in this case, these two lists are two different lists. These three lists will look like this. Fruit1 and fruit2 are pointing to the same memory location. That's why they are same. If you will change into one, it will reflect to other. But fruit3 is a separate list. If you change something in fruit3, it doesn't mean it will reflect to other list. Now look at these two statements. We are changing the first element of fruit2 to guava and the first element of fruit3 to kiwi. So after changes, the list will look like this. We change the element of fruit2, but it will reflect to fruit1. But that is not the case with fruit3. If we are changing something in fruit3, it doesn't mean it will reflect to other list. Alright, let's proceed. There is one variable initialized to 0. Using for loop, we are iterating over 3 lists. It means the value of I will get checked in the fruit1 list first, then fruit2 and followed by fruit3. What are the conditions? In the first condition, we need to check whether I of 0 is equals to guava. Look at the fruit1 list. Yes, at the 0th index we have guava. It means this condition satisfies. The sum will get updated to the value 1. What's the next condition? I of 1 should be kiwi. It is not getting satisfied. After checking in the fruit1, now the value of I will get checked in the fruit2. We generally do this arrangement when we need to apply certain conditions on more than one list. Alright, let's check these conditions in fruit2. I of 0 is equals to guava. Yes, it is. Fruit2 and fruit1 list are same. And look at this 0th index. Yes, we have guava. So the value of sum will get incremented by 1. Now it will be 2. What's the next condition? I of 1 should be kiwi. It is not getting satisfied. Let's proceed. Now we will check the values of I in case of fruit3. I of 0 equals to guava. Look at the fruit3 list. No, it is not. I of 1 is equals to kiwi. Yes, it is. It means sum will get incremented by 20. The previous value is 2. 20 will get added. It will become 22. In this way, for loop got over. Let's proceed to the next statement. We need to compare fruit1 and fruit2 list. We already understood that they are same. So what we will get? We will get true. With the next print statement, we are checking 1 and 3. We know that 1 and 3 are not same. That's why we will get false. Here is the last line of the code. With the print statement, we are printing the value of sum. It is nothing but 22. So this is the final output. The first will be true, the second will be false, and next we are printing the value of sum, that is nothing but 22. Hope you understood this explanation too. In case of list, make sure you know what is deep copy and shallow copy. These concepts we are applying here. This is very easy. If you can do it yourself, please give it a try. Alright, here is the dry run table. Let's check the code. We have one list. Using for loop, we are iterating over the elements of the list. And there is one inner loop. What are the values of I? It is nothing but the individual elements of the list. Hope you are clear with the values of I. 4, 9, 12, 6, 20. We know the working of nested loop. Now we need to check what are the values of j. Alright, here is the pass 1. In the pass 1, I is 4. 4 is the first element of the list. What is j? 1, I modulus 5. This is the starting limit and here is the end limit. Keep in mind, end limit is exclusive. Let's first calculate I modulus 5. The value of I is 4. 4 modulus 5 will be 4. It means the range function will execute as 1, 4. 4 is exclusive. It means 1, 3. 1, 3 means range function will execute for 3 times. The values will be 1, 2, 3. Now let's come inside the loop and check what we are printing. We are printing the value of j. Then hash symbol, and with the end parameter we are suppressing the new line. It means all the values of j will get printed in a same line. After this we are using empty print statement. So when the loop will execute for the next value of I, the values will get printed in a new line. Generally we use this type of nested loop for generating patterns. Alright, let's work out on the values of j. Ultimately we will get these values 1 hash, 2 hash, 3 hash. In this way first line got printed 1 hash, 2 hash, 3 hash. Using empty print statement we will come to the next line. Hope you got an idea how to do it. Let's proceed to the next pass. The next element is 9. 9 modulus 5 is nothing but 4. 1, 4 means exactly it will work for 1, 2, 3. Again we will get the same output. So here is the next line. 1 hash, 2 hash and 3 hash. In the third pass I will be 12. 12 modulus 5 equals to 2. 1, 2 is nothing but 1 because outer limit is exclusive. It means we are just printing 1 hash. Alright, in the next pass the value of I will be 6. 6 is the next element. 6 modulus 5 is nothing but 1. 1, 1 cannot be executed. It means it's an empty range. In that case nothing will get printed. Let's move ahead to the last element. The value of I will be 20. 20 modulus 5 is 0. 1, 0 also cannot be executed. It means again it's an empty range. Nothing will get printed. The elements of the list got over and this will be our final output. Let me show you. Here is the final output. Hope you got it. In this way we practice 3 output based questions on list. If you want more practice, here it is. Pause the video and try it yourself. For your convenience, here is the dry run table. Make sure you are practicing yourself because the more you practice, the more you get the clarity. Alright then, there is one more question. Pause the video and you have to give it a try. To help you, I am showing the output and here is the dry run table for the same. Alright, here is one more output based question on list. No need to hurry, pause the video and take your own time. If you can solve it yourself, well and good. If not also, I am showing you the dry run table. Hope this dry run table will be helpful to you to get the correct output. And this is the final output for this code. In this code, there is list as well as dictionary. So hope you could solve it. Alright, with that let's wrap today's video. Hope you got an idea how to solve output based questions. If you have any doubt, let me know in the comments below. In the next video, we are going to revise tuple. So until next time, stay tuned, stay healthy. I will see you in the next video.